Alright, you guys, apologies. I messed up a couple of the names from the YouTube channels and Instagram handles. So I misspelled Shanbooty, which is Shannon Boudra. Um, Her name on YouTube is spelled Shan, and then the second word is Boody, not T as in Tom, D as in David. Um, and I was also incorrect when I said that when I mentioned Ari Fitz goes by Arrows, Arrows, and uses, identifies with they, he pronouns. Um, if you Google or look up on YouTube Ari Fitz, you'll find more videos. But Arrows is the new channel and has much newer content, and that is their name, Arrows, not Ari Fitz. And so the video I'm going to talk about by Arrows is called My Name is Arrows, Not Ari Fitz. And it's a pretty lengthy video. It's about 24 minutes long. So I just wanted to correct myself on these because I want it to be as accurate as possible. So hope you enjoy. Alright guys, welcome back to Tomboy Official. So I hope my headphone mic isn't rubbing on my sweater too much, but so today we're gonna talk about sex because that's one of the building blocks of life, right? I mean, in a lot of ways, it depends who you're having sex with. Not everybody's gonna procreate, so there's that. But that's not the only thing it's there for, at least in my own philosophy of life. That's not the only thing. And there are other scientific kind of theories and some scientific kind of evidence that, different things like emotional connection, stress relief, and vulnerability factors and things like that play a very important role in a person's sex life. So I know I've been MIA, guys, and I apologize. I previously just posted a clip called Ambivalence/Confusion, and kind of helping people find out, what that looks like, what it is, and how to build courage around things. So part of me is kind of taking my own advice here. But yeah, a lot of the reason why I was MIA is because I spent like maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks making multiple recordings, and those recordings were mostly about sexual topics. So I did one about, I don't know the exact titles because I didn't even title them, I didn't post them or anything, but they were pretty lengthy. It was at least like, let me see how many hours of content there. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think all those were from that. But I want to say it was at least like 4 hours of content that I had recorded about sex. And, I talked a lot about my background. I talked a lot about my not only my background, like kind of like religious upbringing. I talked a lot about my kind of like my heritage, my ethnicity, my cultural factors, that kind of play a role. And I also talked about pornography and about, I can't remember if I talked about masturbation at all, but it was pretty in depth. And I was a little on the stone side doing it. And then, I didn't post it right away. And I was like, yeah, I'll post it later. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, let me not. And the reason why I didn't is because there was a lot of personal information in there. It wasn't like a lot of private details involving other people or whatever, but it was mostly my own like personal information. And it kind of like jogged my memory of when my mother um, found my Tomboy Official YouTube channel, and she commented on there and started liking stuff. And I was just like, shoot, like I wanted this to be a little more authentic and covering like a lot of different areas about life, but I didn't want it to be like my family and my church people all up in it. And so, there's also a pastor friend that, tried to add me on my Tomboy Official Instagram and things like that, where I was just like, one of these days I might actually be brave enough to go back and unblock them from seeing what I post. And they've probably seen it anyways. If they're really that curious, they can come across it. But I was just like, yeah, there's certain pastors and church folks and family and parents and things that I kind of don't want all up in my business like that. Um, and so that was the main reason why I was like, let me not post this. And so I went a couple weeks, like in addition to, having some pretty rough days and some stressful times. I had some experiences where, I didn't really want to post that. And it's my own personal information, so I was like, there's no pressure to really post it, but I don't want to appear like some robotic person that has like no personality and no human feelings or emotions or anything. Like I'm not like that at all. I'm just like every other human being out there, you know. Um I'm not saying that I'd say that I've had a past of struggling with things regarding sexuality, mainly because of my religious upbringing and things like that. So that definitely played a huge role in kind of how I approach sex, sexuality, those types of things. And now that I live by myself, not like by myself. Like I have housemates and stuff, but like I live, you know, outside of maybe outside of church eyes, outside of my parents' eyes. I'm not like so in-depthly like involved with all those people, but social media is social media, right? So people come across stuff. So there are some videos that I've come across that I'm gonna link in the description, and one of them that I thought was really cool. It was kind of a few videos actually by um, so some queer slash ally slash um, masculine presenting females. It's like a combination of all of the above of the people that I'm going to talk about. Um, so there are two people that I would say really have a lot of I don't think explicit is the right term, but a lot of information to pull from in an educational way. And so Stevie Bobby is definitely one. Her name is spelled Stevie Stevie, and Bobby Boebi. There's also Lacey Green, LACIGREEN. There's also Amber from Amber's Closet. And then there's also Face the Facts, which are 4 individuals. And there's Jay Killam, spelled JKILLM. KIILLEM. She also goes by J Killam Shots. So these would be the people that I, would initially recommend people to follow, to like their content, to go on YouTube, hit the bell icon, to get notified when they post updated information. um, and I'll put all their links in the description. I'll put a video with each of the links, either from Instagram or from YouTube. There's also Ash Hardell. And let me see who else. So Ash is ASH and then Hardell HARDELL. There's also who else? I just had it on the tip of my tongue and then I forgot when I said Ash Hardell. Oh yeah, Jade Fox and Ari Fitz. So Jade Fox is JADE and then last name FOX. She used to go by Foxy Hot Mess and she changed it. Ari Fitz is 2 words, ARI and FITZ. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about these content creators. So Stevie Bobby, she has a lot of educational videos on YouTube, and those videos are primarily geared towards queer women that have sex with other queer women and other types of queer related topics and sexuality in general, safe sex and that kind of thing. Most of her content is along those lines. And then there's Lacey Green, who is a content creator and is also on the educational side. She talks often about safe sex and sexual practices. I believe both Stevie Bobby and Lacey Green both talk also about sexuality and sex with people with disabilities, either if it's the person who has disabilities or the person who, they're having sex with that has disabilities. There's also Amber's Closet. So Amber's Closet is more of a, masculine presenting, I don't know if she identifies as lesbian. I can't remember all of everybody's identifications, but I say queer as like a blanket term to mean, anybody who's under that LGBTQ plus umbrella. If they're not straight, I just say queer, basically. I mean that to mean either gender queer or sexual identity queer. It's kind of my own, for me, it's just easier to say it, but all these people don't necessarily identify as queer. They all have their own specific different identities, but because, I'm looking at the demographics of people who listen to this podcast here, and there is a lot of diversity. There are people who present or identify as males. There are people who present or identify as females. There are people who are gay, who are straight, who are all different types of sexual identities. And, I don't want to exclude people, but I feel like the easiest content to kind of find is usually going to be in the straight, cis, male category of things. So Amber's Closet, she has this this collab that she did quite a few times with Shan Boudra. I think she goes by Shan Booty, SHAN, and then BOOTY. That's her handle on YouTube. So they did some clips together that I thought were really cool, and the clips that they did were about um, basically it was about um, kind of like their background of sex, like how they kind of initially were experiencing sexuality in their lives, and like how they differed, how they had things in common. Shan Booty has a partner who's a male, cis male. I don't know if she identifies as straight or queer or what her identification is. Um, I don't know if she's poly. I kind of always got the impression that at some point she was pretty um, interested or not closed minded about open relationships, but I could just be kind of deducting that from that she's a sex educator, and I believe she does like a form of sex therapy, sex counseling, sex therapy too. Um, and she's pretty revealing and open on her channel. She has her own channel, and then she collabs with other people. And her partner, who's the male partner, they have a lot of videos that they do together too. But I first came across her content when she was by herself, but she was doing collaborations with people that I had already been subscribing to. Um, and I'll probably break down each one of these content creators too, just to show like a specific video or clip that I want to kind of react to. And so, Face the Facts is four queer, masculine presenting females that all met on a kind of a tomboy type modeling show, and it was really cool to see them on there. I was only able to come across an app where they had them on it, and they were modeling. I like the show because of the modeling, because of them, because of like the actors and stuff. But the thing I didn't really like was the host. She seemed a little. I mean, I understood that they were pushing their boundaries and they were consenting to this, but there's something about me that's kind of like a little sensitive about that. That's kind of like I kind of feel like sometimes when it comes to, young models, especially queer models, I see this often, especially coming from LA, that I see this a lot in the media, that there are people in their 20s and 30s, they kind of get a bit exploited and they get money and the what do you call it? Like the publicity, I guess, or like the, not necessarily the fame, but like they want to get their name out there, their brand out there. And so they use these different like reality shows as a stepping stone. But I feel like sometimes the reality shows kind of take advantage. And you can tell sometimes in these shows, like, that the actors or the models aren't really all that comfortable. I saw that not only in with the Face the Facts people who were in those four that were in that show, because they were asking them to do things like topless with like those I don't know what you call it, with those they're not pasties, but they're kind of something that like goes over the nipples and kind of tapes around, so it's like a braless bra or something like that. I don't know what they're actually called, but it's like a sort of tape um, that kind of either makes someone look flatter, or it covers the nipples, or it kind of makes it so that they can like, so they have that kind of support from like without their breasts like bouncing all over the place if they want to go like, either topless or have a top on but no bra. I think that's the main purpose of that type of tape. So they had things like that, and things like where they were wearing like effeminate type of clothing, like dresses. And then, you could kind of tell that, because it was pushing their boundaries. And I don't think they had regrets about it necessarily, they seem to have formed a nice bond over the whole project. But when I was watching it, it was just a little like, I kind of get that, that representation is needed and those people need to be out there. But I was kind of hoping to see more of, let the masculine presenting females be masculine presenting and model that way, instead of like, let's make them model all these other kind of like dresses and gowns and all this other kind of stuff. Like, I did like, that they seemed to enjoy, pushing to see where they were going with it, and pushing their own emotional limits and things like that. But it's like, it seemed distressing to them, so it kind of stressed me out too. I like their content though, because I went back and I came across those videos after. And so yeah, Face the Facts, they had an episode that I'll post, that where they talked about sex. They talked about sex and kind of a lot of their viewpoints about sex, um, and their experiences with it, um, kind of like how they were raised, and different sorts of topics surrounding sex and how it impacts their lives now. There were some details that they put in there too. And so I really liked it, and they have a really good camaraderie. They're really kind of like cool together, the four of them, and then they each kind of separately do their own thing on the side, as well as their collaboration with the four of them as Face the Facts as a crew. And then so they have a lot of projects, and I think they're in their 20s and 30s. Some of them are in their like mid 30s, and some of them are like in their early 30s or late 20s. So I kind of like that they're not like so young. They're not like early 20s, 18, 19. Um, there's Jay Killam. Jess is Jay Killam. Um, Again, the spelling is JKIILLEM. And so Jay Killam has a few videos about masculine presenting female. She's a masculine presenting female, queer. I want to say she's lesbian, but I don't know, again, specifically how she identifies. The identities, I mean, I apologize. I could go back in and look at everybody's identities, but I feel like over time, people label themselves one way or another way, and, you know, the whole thing is I'm trying to put out information that is helpful for people of a diverse range. So I'm just trying to explain their content the best that I can. So Jay Killam had some videos about, I think a more recent video that she put out, it wasn't very new, but more recent, was about um it was like answering people's questions about sex. So she was taking people's questions, and then answering those questions about sex. And so that one I really liked. That one was really cool. And she had another, and in that video, so in that video, she talks about like giving oral sex, or, and like different like tips and things like that. Like it was pretty detailed. So if anybody's looking to, step their game up, she's got a good clip on that one. Um, there's Ash Hardell. So Ash Hardell, I don't know if Ash identifies as trans male or non-gender conforming, but Ash has a partner whose last name I believe is Mardell or Hardell. I can't remember. And I can't remember if the partner kept their first name. The partner's first name was Grace, and I can't remember if that partner kept their same name. And I know the partner and Ash, since their initial YouTube videos, I know that they have different gender identities now than when they first started. Like they've kind of I like to call it, they've kind of transcended, or like found themselves, and found who they authentically are, and so they've been identifying as such. And I know they've done some portion of top surgeries, if not completely finished those surgeries. I think they have, because this was like ages ago. But Ash Hardell has some videos about like like underwear videos for people who aren't like maybe super feminine, some non-gender conforming type of like underwear, things like that, some kind of like sex toy reveal kind of topics, things like that. Jade Fox has videos that she gets a lot of I think she's a lesbian female. She gets a lot of um like sex toys from, I don't know if it's like Adam and Eve or something like that. There's also Ari Fitz, so Jade, Ari, Amber's Closet, a lot of those guys, they're kind of buddies. A lot of the LA crew, the people who at least were in LA, a lot of the LA crew, they're all like homies, at least were at one point. And so you see a lot of them together, and that's kind of how I learned about a lot of them, is because they had videos where they filmed them together. I think Ash Hardell had a video with Jade Fox as well, and they were both kind of talking about like tomboy related, like masculine presenting related topics. Ari Fitz, I believe, doesn't have. I think Ari Fitz is gender non-conforming. I know Ari has, I don't know how they have like a bit of a beard hair now. Ari didn't always have that, but now does, and has filmed multiple videos with Jade Fox. They had like this super time series that they did together that was really fun and cute. And they seemed like they were besties, just hanging all the time. So I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot of people. I've been so busy in my own work life and other stuff that I don't really follow all of these people all the time anymore. I'd say most recently I follow Face the Facts kind of more. And so, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about my own self in this clip. It's mostly just, these are some cool resources. Some other ones with cis males, there's Davey Wavy, who goes by Wicked Cool. So I have to spell it out. So Wicked Cool, he's had this for like ages. WICKYDKEWL. Or if you just search Davey Wavy, I'm sure he would come up. So he has, what's it called? He has a, what's it called? Humoros. Humoros is his brand. It's like adult videos. Humoros, HIMEROS. And he's probably the first queer YouTuber, gay male YouTuber, the first gay YouTuber I ever watched before I was out to anybody, probably before I even thought about, what I identify as, and when I was still, listening to people from the church that were always telling me, "Oh, you're straight, you're straight, you're straight. You'll like dresses later, you'll like that later." He was probably the first person that I kind of was able to connect with his content, and I never really understood why I gravitated so much towards like, oh, there's like this gay guy, and I want to like watch his videos, and like, he was kind of like a twink at the time when he was kind of starting to record, and he's kind of beefed up since then. He's kind of more like bodybuilder. I think he's probably in his 30s by now, but I think he was still older. He's still older than me, I think. But I just really appreciated his videos. They were always pretty positive, and he'd always film them. He had this dog named Chipotle. Like, I hope he still has the dog, but yeah, it was just, he lived in like Toronto, I think, initially, and then he moved to LA when the whole migration to LA was happening for all the YouTubers. And so I remember that. And so that was pretty cool to first come across him. Um so that was cool. And he has a lot of videos with a lot of gay male content creators, gay male adult film stars, just different people in different aspects of the gay world. I'd say mostly they tend to be like models and dancers and things like that. Um, and I think his videos are very nice, tastefully done. I like that they kind of push that YouTube limit, that it's like it's right on the border of like what they would probably allow, but they do allow it, which is cool. So like I think that's what got my attention at first, was like, oh cool, this guy like makes these videos and like he's good at it. So yeah, there was that. Davey Wavy's awesome. He's still making content. He had some videos that he did with some of the uh, Helix Studios, previous Helix Studios models. So Helix Studios, for people who don't know, it's an adult film studio, mostly twink gay males. It's porn, basically. Davey Wavy made some videos with Blake Mitchell and what's his name? I can't believe okay, Joey Mills. And it was called the What's Up My Butt Challenge, where they were basically, Joey Mills was guessing which items were being put in his anus, and he was going to get points for it. I think there was like a little competition, like if Joey won, then there's something that like Blake would have to do, and then if Blake won, and if Blake and Davey won, then there's something Joey would have to do. It was a cute, funny video. And I really do think they were like legit, like putting things in his butt. Like it was kind of funny. But they had like a combination of sex toys and things like that. And then talking about Helix Studios. So Helix Studios, they evolve over time. A lot of their models slash actors slash porn artists, I don't know what you call them. I don't like saying like just adult entertainers, because like that could mean almost anything. They are in the pornography industry, but I mean like it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of just revealing, because like I'm just basically, I mean, obviously I know about this stuff, right? So it's not that I'm just like telling you because I just breezed by the page. It's like it's stuff that I actively follow, in case you need to know that. But I do actively follow a lot of these people, and so yeah, Helix Studios. I think I first started watching Helix Studios when Blake Mitchell and Joey Mills were still actively a part of it, and then like, so if you go the YouTube route, Helix Studios has on the YouTube route, Helix Studios has a lot of man, I'm blanking on the word, sorry. Sorry, I'm coughing. What is it that they have? Oh, so they have a lot of their porn actors doing interviews, and so there's like a person going through the comments of the of the viewers, the people, their fans and stuff, and so they ask them questions to the couple, and the YouTube version is just an interview, but usually they do this like interview, and then in the actual adult version of the video, it goes from the interview into like some sort of sexual encounter with those two or three or four, however many people the interview was with, they kind of just start rolling into like the sex part. Like it kind of goes from like topics about their lives to how they got into the industry and how they met each other, what they think about things, their hobbies, different interests, things like that. What they do for fun, kind of a little bit more serious topics like maybe like they might talk about like their favorite fetishes or something along those lines, like something that turns them on sexually and that kind of stuff. And then they'll sometimes the fans ask them to do stuff like tickle this guy or like make out or something like that. So it kind of goes from that little like foreplay kind of teasing stuff into when people start taking off their clothes and all those kind of things, and then they kind of roll into the actual sexual parts where they're actually like nude and like having sex and doing things. And so what I like about it is that they seem very comfortable, and that's what I like to see is like adult film actors that are very comfortable with their sexuality, comfortable with themselves. It's cool to see queer people of all kinds, genders, races, sizes, and shapes, being like confident in their own bodies and, regardless of their size and things like that. I just really like seeing that it's very sex positive. And I think a lot of these that I mentioned, the reason why I like them so much is because they present this view, especially like they provide this representation of positive views of queer sex and things that you don't usually hear about. I mean, a lot of us usually you hear, from politics, there's always these people that are trying to put people down. Gay people can't get married. Gay people can't have kids. Let's take away their rights. That's the view of like American society, especially in a lot of places in the country. It's still not 110% acceptable. Where I live, I mean, I'm in San Diego. I go between San Diego and LA. Orange County's in between there. Orange County is a lot more conservative. LA is a lot less conservative. And then San Diego's kind of somewhere a little bit in the middle. But I feel like it's so low key. Everything's so low key in San Diego that like people kind of have their own culture about things here, which is what I really like, is that it's not too much of everything. It's just that right balance that's like you can focus, you can work, you can study, you can still party, and then if you really want like something kind of poppin' and it's not in San Diego, you could drive up to LA. It's only a couple hours away. So it's like, and then you have way more options up there. And so, I like that I'm able to be around representation on a regular basis. There's certain parts of the city where I can go. There's certain places where I work or have worked or connect people with that are, where people can find allies, where I work is a safe space. I would say, like, oh man, like, it touched my heart this past Christmas holiday season when my boss gave me these. I'm wearing them right now, actually. These taco dress socks. They're like black socks that have like these orange themed like tacos, and they're like orange and black socks with like little pictures of tacos on them. But they're men's dress socks, and I was like so happy. And it said men's socks on it, and I was just like, to me that just like touched my heart. I was like, she gets me, man. She gets me. Like, she didn't get me some weird frilly gift, some weird like pink like periwinkle sparkled glitter thing. Like, she gave me something that was like, I'll actually use it. I actually wear these. I wear them a lot. I'm wearing them right now. They're cool socks. They're comfortable. They're my style. She commented before when I was walking up the stairs with her. She was like a lot before that. She was like, are you wearing Nintendo socks? And like, I was like, yeah, I have Nintendo socks. And so I think she started realizing I like kind of like graphic, socks with like graphic designs on them. And then, she didn't get me like a girl sock. She got me guys socks. And so I was like, yeah, this is totally something I would have bought for myself. And she totally bought it for me. And I was just like, it's a small gesture, but I was like, even just the fact that it said men's socks on it, on the, because it wasn't opened yet, and it was just like the cardboard little paper wrapping on it and stuff. And I was like, that is so sweet that, they got me men's dress socks, So I was like, that's so cute. And I know that, like, she doesn't mind if her son wears like pink, dress shirts and stuff like that. Her son's really into pink, purple. He might play with dolls and stuff, and she's totally understanding that, like, humans are humans. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. They have their interests, they have their preferences, and she's with it. And I never really, noticed, but she kind of just lets me wear whatever I want. There are kind of dress codes, but like I can kind of just wear what I like, and she doesn't really hassle me. So, I really felt, like I feel like I work in a safe space. And I know a lot of people don't have that, where they have to, conform to kind of what is expected with the risk of losing their job and their livelihood. And right now is not the time to be, risking your livelihood during a pandemic where everything's so uncertain. And so, yeah, I felt like, that was really cool of her. But I say all that to say that, I really just like seeing representation, and seeing just kind of how the world looks through the eyes of, a positive, queer, gender queer, gender, just positive, all representing society. These types of videos and content kind of get us closer to kind of a more well-rounded version. I mean, there are people out there, guys. We're out there. We are like you. We have the same concerns as you. We are the same. It's very hard to notice that. And I mean, I struggle to find stuff even living where I live in Southern California, where things are just so open. I mean, I don't live in San Francisco, but I mean, I live in Southern California, and it's like an 8 hour, well, from LA, it's like an 8 hour drive. So, from San Francisco one way. And so, I mean, I get it. I like it. I'm all for it. And, you know, I just want people to know that there is stuff out there that you can come across, that you can watch. There's not like some weird like thing. I mean, like, who am I to say something's weird? I mean, I'm not here to like judge, but I mean, the way we're taught and the way society wants to make queer people or non-straight cis people seem is that, they're perverse, like weird, odd, kind of like, need to be like told that what they're doing is like despicable and disgusting and things like that. And all of these people that I've talked about, no one on there is doing anything disgusting or like perverse or inappropriate or anything like that. It's very mature content, like maturely made. Like it is, I mean, I'll say it's for adult mature audiences, but it's also very educational. And I would say if I was a teen or had like a teen, especially maybe an older teen, I'd be pretty comfortable letting them, engage with this content, just so that they could see that there's representation out there that, they could possibly relate to, that they don't feel like ashamed about, their bodies or about the thoughts or feelings that they're having that are coming up. That a lot of this content is, for us, by us, and it represents a lot of us, and we don't really see that on television, especially if you don't have cable TV. You're not going to see this kind of thing in the news or in the newspapers or in your common magazines walking through the store. It's like we're almost invisible, completely invisible. And even though we are, poking our heads out, and society, mainstream society is allowing these, us minority populations, whether that's whether that's ethnic or sexual or, gender, like any type of minority on those ends. These minority groups are minority groups. We are being dictated to how we can represent ourselves, right? And so YouTube is like considered by far one of the biggest search platforms. When you search for something, depending what it is, you're usually going to search to look for a video, right? I want to know how to build a computer. I'm going to try and find a video. I want to know how to, I want advice about, what kind of car to buy. I'd rather watch a video about somebody explaining it and talking to me about it. And, it's more personal, interactive. You see a human being most times on the screen talking to you versus reading about it or anything like that. Like it's a lot more easy to grasp. It's more fun. It's more interactive. Instagram's kind of the same. But people really love YouTube for those reasons. But it's mostly really just nice to see people who represent us, who are out there providing a lot of very good content. That there's something out there for anybody, right? And so I'm not even done talking with these. There's a few more I want to mention because they keep coming to mind now that I'm now that I'm talking about them, more and more of them come to my mind. But so Helix Studios, I talked about that a little bit, and they evolve. So from what I see now, it's not the same as what I saw before. And then the sexual content that they have, like on YouTube, it's YouTube appropriate. But if you go on like adult websites, on like actual porn sites where you can see the full videos, you see the full spectrum of the whole range of the video, where it goes from just the interview to the actual sex that they're having. Sorry, I'm typing in just a couple more. So BuzzFeed, they have BuzzFeed Violet, BuzzFeed. If you look up BuzzFeed gay, just in general, BuzzFeed, and then just put the word gay after it, you're going to find a lot of gay, queer, LGBTQ plus type of content by BuzzFeed. A lot of the BuzzFeed YouTubers have left and created their own content. So I know there was Jen, who was one of them, and there was also Eugene, who was one of the BuzzFeeders initially. I saw Eugene at LA Pride. Maybe it was like 2018. I got to take a photo with him, and I was so happy about that. Eugene, I don't even think he's listening to this, but if you are, buddy, you made my day. I saw Keith. I saw Eugene. I think at Long Beach Pride in 2019, I saw a couple other of the BuzzFeed Violet females. There was I'm blanking on their names, but there's a lady who's she's got like a buzz haircut. She's kind of like either mixed or she's African American or black. She's tall. She's I don't know if she's considered plus size, but she's not like super super thin, which is it's fine. She looks nice, and she's like tall, and yeah, Jen did some videos, and they did a lot of cool collabs. I mean, there's so much that they did that it's like I can't even really put it all into like a whole explanation. They did a bunch of videos where it was like coming out of the closet, so they would interview different queer BuzzFeeders that had that were not straight people, and all that kind of thing. And then they had different ones. Like I remember Eugene had an episode talking about kind of his upbringing, and I don't know if he identifies as a bisexual cis male. I honestly don't know how these people identify, but I mean, that's why I say it because I don't want to get it wrong, because I always feel like terrible when I like misidentify somebody, and it's just so many different people that and I'm not like actively following them all day every day to the point where I like remember all the details, but they're all I think everyone that I'm talking about here is not a they're not a straight person, or they're not a cisgender person. They're either one or the other. They're outside of the straight. They're not straight cis people, so not straight cisgender people. Um, so what's the safe word? There is a main male who's he's younger. He's probably in his 30s or so, and he has a partner. I don't know to what extent, but they have content that's more like they talk about like BDSM, about like safety with BDSM, about consent. They have videos on like how to tie like a harness, about like buying harnesses, or about collars and the use for them, and leather play and puppy play, and you know, like how to tie ropes in different forms of knots, and then dom and sub kind of things like that. And what's the safe word? They spell it WATTS, and then THE, and then safe SAFE, and then word WORD. So what's the safe word? And I think one of them goes by Watts. I think the younger one is Watts or Watts or something like that. So I think that's why it's called What's the Safe Word. And then my all-time favorite, last but not least, there's Pink and White. That's by Shine Louise. So I think her name is spelled SHINELOUISE, and it's Pink and White. Pink and White Productions. And then some names to look up. Some of the famous ones, Jiz Lee is famous. Is JIZ and then LEE. Also, Sid Blakovich is famous. SYD BLAKOVICH. And there are a lot of others, but I think Jiz Lee and Sid Blakovich, they have some little interviews on YouTube. I know Jiz Lee is pretty active on Instagram. There's a series by Pink and White Productions that's called what's it called? Something with like a key. I'm gonna have to look it up. Sorry guys, my brain is failing me today. It's something with a key. Pink and White Productions. I can't believe I'm like blanking on the name to this. So their website is pinklabel.tv, and Crash Pad series. I was totally off on the name. Crash Pad series is the one where they have the they have like, it's basically a series about like all types of queer people, all types of genders and ethnicities. There's a lot of trans and gender non-conforming adult model actor porn stars on there. And the way it seems is that they kind of tell them who they're going to be shooting scenes with, and then they kind of have time to kind of meet up together a lot of the time. Sometimes they don't have a lot of time, sometimes they do. They have the time to meet up together, they kind of talk about things, get to know each other a little bit, and then they film the scene. Sometimes there's like a theme to it. So the whole Crash Pad series in general is about, this kind of dorm style kind of room where people have like this key that they can just invite people to. So it's like there might be one person in there that invites another person, and then they're supposed to give them the key, and then whoever has the key can open that room, and it's basically like a sex room where people just are like having sex with each other, and then Shine Louise is like behind the scenes, like kind of like a peephole camera kind of thing. Like they know, like the whole theory of it is that like they're being watched by someone behind this like video camera, behind this like room where they can't see the other person, but it's like a peek hole kind of room where people can watch them like through a computer or whatever. They're kind of watching all these actions and acts going on between primarily a lot of like lesbian and queer cis females, but then there's a lot of like masculine presenting females. There's trans males, trans females, people who have had the surgeries, people who have not had the surgeries. There's some BDSM and some of them, like it basically, if you subscribe to it, I'm just gonna tell you how it is. Like you can filter by, like if you're looking for like fisting or kind of rougher play, or if people are like spitting, or if there's like um I don't know, like squirting or whatever, penetration or like strap-ons and things like that. If there's like ropes involved and stuff like that, you can kind of search like that. Or if you know the names of the actors, you can search like that, or you can search just like by a term and see if it catches, on the site, and you can find content in those categories. Um and so yeah, that's what that looks like, and it's very, very, it's sex basically. But it's not sex that you see in every single place that you'll look for it. It's kind of unique because they have different body shapes and sizes, and like I said, different genders and things like that, different ethnicities. A lot of sex tends to be cis white males for cis or cis white people for cis white straight males. And then there's also a lot of gay porn that's mostly for, cis male gay guys. That's who it's geared towards. So a lot of times, people who want queer porn, they're usually going to find gay males that are white males. And, I mean, people have their own preferences, but sometimes you want something maybe outside of that, or if you're looking for something that's not in that main category, you might want something a little bit different. So that's why I mentioned these other ones, is because a lot of these people talk about sex, or you can see them having sex, or you can get, you can find anything on the internet, guys. So I'm just putting the names out there and the information out there so that you can find it yourself. If you guys have any other questions about other stuff, I mean, these are the main ones that I know that are just off the top of my head. I wouldn't say I watch all of these people all day, every day, but I mean, I'm familiar enough that I can explain in general, like I did, about the type of content that they put out, what you would expect to find. And the Crash Pad series, I know after they're done with their, with the sex, there's an interview. I think you can get the transcription of the interview without subscribing. I don't know. I don't have my subscription right now. I think the subscription's like $25 a month or so, and I'm really trying to save right now, so because I got a trip coming up for some snowboarding, so I'm not really trying to overspend on extra stuff. But I think, guys, that they have content you can purchase. I think it's like $25.99 for Crash Pad. I don't know how much Pink Label TV costs, how much the Pink and White Productions in general costs. I think it's a different cost. So you can get both or one, or I don't know if it's like a package deal. I think you can do monthly or annual, something like that, or like every few months. Yeah, so that kind of thing. So that is just my generals for sex. If you want to learn a lot and you don't know where to start, and you're looking for something that's not straight or that's not like cisgender, I think I've mentioned enough options of things that are kind of not something that you would just find like every single place. I try to put something that's diverse enough that it's, that people can find something within, what they're looking for. And so I hope this was really helpful, educational for you guys. Um, I'll keep posting more of people like this. I might actually break down a lot of these videos and put some separately in a different clip. I might put different clips for every single one that I mentioned, just because they're things that I'm interested in anyway. So I wouldn't mind doing like I was saying before, like a reaction to them. I'm still thinking about if I'm gonna post the other sexuality stuff that I made about my own personal life. But this, I think, is the easiest stepping stone for me to take at first. And I'm just letting you guys know, like, I know about this stuff because I like it and I watch it and I view it and I find it. And I follow all of it. And so, if people want to know kind of, that's kind of my general information. That's as personal as I'm going to get in this one, maybe. Just saying that that's the kind of stuff I come across that I follow. And so there's that. But yeah, a lot of it I just love because to me it shows like a positive representation of, sex that's not like straight male, female, white people having sex. Like there's a lot of diversity that I listed here. And so I really hope for those of you out there who want more diversity or are interested in these different types of topics and subjects and populations of people, I hope this was helpful for you. I'd like to hear back and know what you guys think. And I'm running out of time, so thanks for listening. Bye.